Hello everyone. Today's topic is international trade theories. So here you can see in the slide there are some international trade theories. First is mercantilism, absolute advantage, comparative advantage, Hesher-Ohlin theory, product life cycle theory, new trade theory, and Potter's diamond theory. So, in mercantilism, which emerged in England in the mid 16th century, asserted that it is in a country's best interest to maintain a trade surplus, to export more than it imports. Government intervenes to achieve a surplus in exports. Trade is a zero sum game. A gain by one country result in a loss by another country. So this is all about the mercantilism as to increase export and decrease imports, as this is the zero sum game, as a gain by one country result in a loss by another country. So this theory already all about depend on in export and imports to maintain trade surplus by exporting more. And come on the another theory that will tell you about absolute advantage. In 1776, Adam Smith attacked the mercantilism assumption that trade is a zero-sum game and argued that countries differ in their ability to produce goods efficiently and that a country has an absolute advantage in the production of a product when it is more efficient than any other country in producing it. So, capability of one country to produce more of a product using the same amount of input. A country should produce only goods where it is more efficient at production and trade for those goods which are relatively not efficiently produced. Trade between countries is therefore beneficial. These are some of the facts about absolute advantage, and you can see in the next slide that is absolute advantage should specialize in production of and export products for which it has absolute advantage, import other products. Has absolute advantage when it is more productive than another country is producing a particular product. So here you can see that there are two countries, Ghana and South Korea. Ghana produce cocoa and South Korea produce rice. Here you can see that there is a production level of cocoa, and that is denoted by G dash, and rice that is K dash for the South Korea. So here you are seeing that the production of cocoa in Ghana is more than rice, and production of rice is in South Korea is more than Ghana. So they it is absolute advantage to produce the for Ghana to cocoa and for South Korea to produce rice. So it is represented by that particular diagram. Now come on the another point, another theory, that is comparative advantage. In 1870, David Ricardo argued that it makes sense for a country to specialize in the production of those goods that is produced more efficiently and to buy the goods that is produces less efficiently from other countries, even if this means buying goods from other countries that it could produce more efficiently itself. If country A can produce good X at a lower opportunity cost than country B, country A has a comparative advantage in the production of good X. The opportunity cost of good X production, the amount of good Y that must be giving up in order to produce one more unit of good X. So here you can see here the absolute cost advantage is a special case of comparative advantage, as in the same for the same countries, Ghana and South Korea, you are seeing here Ghana is good in production of cocoa and rice both, and South Korea is good in production of rice and cocoa. So here you are seeing that where they are good in the production of, if the country A can, or country Ghana is can produce good eggs at a lower opportunity cost than country South Korea, then country Ghana has a comparative advantage in the production of good the cocoa. So here it will applicable that the opportunity cost of good for a particular good production, the amount of another good that must be given up in order to produce one more unit of a particular good. So here this is the diagrammatical presentation of that particular comparative advantage theory. Now come on the another theory, that is Hacker-Ohlin theory. That Hasher and Ohlin argued that countries will export goods that make incentive use of those factors that are locally abundant, but while importing goods that make intensive use of factors that are locally scarce. So Nantev paradox, US has relatively more abundant capital yet imports goods more capital intensive than those it exports. For that particular explanation, US has a special advantage on producing new products made with innovative technologies. These may less capital intensive till they reach mass production state. Differences in factor endowment, not on differences in productivity, determine pattern of trade. Absolute amount of factor endowment matters. A country export goods that intensively use factor endowment which are locally abundant, and imports goods made from locally scarce resources. The pattern of trade are determined by differences in factor endowment, not by productivity. Focus on relatively advantage, not absolute advantage. Examples: China, Mexico, and Vietnam, relative abundance of low cost labor. Important implication for that, two countries with identical tastes can still have a basis for trade if factor endowment of the countries differ. So this is basically the Hasher and Ohlin theory assumptions. So theory of relative factors endowment states about factors endowment vary among countries. Products differ according to the types of factors that they need as input. A country has a comparative advantage in producing products that intensively use factors of production as resources it has in abundance. Factors of production: labor, capital, land, human resources, and technology. So this is all about Hasher-Ohlin theory of factor endowment theory. Now come on another theory, that is product life cycle theory. In the mid 1960s, Raymond Vernon proposed the product life cycle theory that suggested that as products mature, both the location of sales and the optimal production location will change, affecting the flow and direction of trade. When products mature, both location of sales and optimal production changes, affects the differentiation and direction and flow of imports and exports. The life of product can be divided into three categories stages as new product, mature product, and standard product. So international product life cycle is most new product convinced produced in the US in 20th century. US firms kept production close to their market initially, aid decisions, minimize risk of new product introductions, demand not based on price, low product cost not an issue, limited initial demand in other advanced countries initially, exports more attractive than overseas production, When demand increases in advanced countries, production follows. With demand expansion in secondary market, product become standardized, production move to low production cost areas, product now imported to US and to advanced countries. New trade come on another point, a theory, that is new trade theories. New trade theories suggested that because of economies of scale, unit cost reduction associated with a large scale of output, that is economies of scale, and increasing returns to specialization in some industries, there are likely to be one or a few profitable firms. Nations can benefit from trade even when they do not differ in resources, endowments, or technology. Because of economies of scale and increasing returns to specialization, there are only a few profitable firms in some industry. Firm with first mover advantage will develop economies of scale and create barriers to entry for other firms. And competitors may not emerge because of first mover advantage, economies of scale, and learning effects that avoid new entrants. Government's role becomes significant and it should consider strategic trade policies. For an example, Boeing research and development was largely supported by the US government. The theory is still too fresh and there is not enough evidence to judge its accuracy. Now come on the another theory, that is Potter's diamond theory. Potter's in 1990 study tried to explain why a nation achieves international success in a particular industry and identified attributes that promote a impend the creation of competitive advantage. These factors are factor endowment, demand condition related and supporting industry, and firm strategy structure rivalry. As factor endowment are land, labor, capital, workforce, infrastructure. Some factors can be created. Demand condition, large sophisticated domestic consumer bases, offers an innovation friendly environment and a testing ground. Related and supporting industry, local suppliers cluster around producers and add to innovation. Firm strategy structure, rivalry, competition, good national governments can create condition which facilitates the nature and conditions. So this is all about the Potter's diamond strategy or theory, that is success occurs where these attributes exist. The greater the attribute, the higher changes of success. The diamond is mutually reinforcing. As you can see here, there is a model that is introduced by Potter's as a diamond theory as firm strategy, structure and rivalry, demand condition related and supporting industry, and factor endowments or are interrelated to each other. So what for business? For first mover implication, location implications, for an investment decision, government policy implications, all that related to the trade theories or international business. So all I have covered theories in this topic, and I have already uploaded all this on Moodle. If you have any query, you are free to ask me. Thank you.